Hey guys, welcome to lesson number 3 of the Shape It Up class. Before we go on, I'm going to share with you the items that I'm going to be using for this particular layout. So let's get on it. This lesson, I'm going to focus on flower punches because sometimes it's kind of neglected, and also sometimes, including me, I look at it as just a flower punch. And so I'm going to hopefully share with you a couple of ways to branch out from your normal use of a flower punch. So I have 2 flower punches, and they're both from Creative Memories. This one has 2 ways of punching. One's with the holes on the sides, and then one with just the outline of the flower. And then this one is supposed to be a punch anywhere type of punch, and I believe it's about an inch, and it also has the scallops, the flower. So those are the 2 punches. Besides the flower punch, I am also planning on using a corner rounder. This is a large one from EK Success, as well as some circle punches. This one is a Creative Memories. It's 1 1/4 and 1 1/2. And then this one is a Marvi Uchida. That's a 1/2 inch punch. Along with that, I am also going to be doing some stamping and some coloring. So this one is a Heidi Swap stamp, and I plan on using this Love This part of the stamp, and I'm going to color that in with a chameleon pen. I'm going to use the Spring Meadows one right there, YG3. I'm also going to be doing some stamping with this heart stamp from Stampin' Up, and I'm going to be using Mermaid Lagoon and Cracked Pistachio from Ranger. And I've cut my part of my title. This one is cut with a black cardstock on the Silhouette Cameo using a free font from thefont.com. I believe it's called Shorelines is the font of this, but I will let you know what specific font it is on the description. And then I'm also going to be using my favorite things, black ink. And then because I am making some flowers, I wanted to have some centers. And so I'm going to use these enamel not enamel, but epoxy circles from Epiphany Crafts. And this one is the round 14, which I believe is about between 1/4 and 1/2 inch, closer to 1/2 inch of diameter of circle. And then for papers, I have some Echo Park papers here. 3 of them are from the Splendid Sunshine line, and then 1 from Love Story. And they are double-sided, so I might use the other side of it, but I really just like these sides of the papers. And then this is going to be my white cardstock, which of course is the back side of a pattern paper that I don't really care for. And then finally, I'm going to do some layering of flowers. And so I wanted to have some papers that are easily scrunched up without tearing them or without them making... I didn't want something that's too stiff, basically. So I found this one. They're Vintage Essentials from Die Cuts with a View, and it's kind of a tissue paper-like consistency or material, I should say. And so they're kind of like newspaper feel. So it's thinner than our regular cardstock, and so I'm going to use this to make my layered flowers. So I hope that you will stay tuned and look forward to hearing what you think of the process video. So before we go on and start with the page, I wanted to make my embellishments first. So we're going to start off with the Vintage Essentials, and I've already picked 3 papers that I thought would be really cool layered with on top of each other. So what we're making is actually these layered flowers right here. I've made a sample already because I need a few for my page. So as you can see, it's easily scrunched up, and you can do this with cardstock, especially those ones that are single sheets that are a little bit flimsy. But I really like the look of this on tissue paper, and also this kind of material that's kind of like newspapery type of paper. So let's get started with this. First thing I did was gathered up my papers, and so I have this dotted one, the script, and then also the stripe. So because I have 2 kinds of the flower punch, it will work to my advantage because I will have 2 different sizes of the flowers. So I just got to make sure that I align all of these papers up. Let me just cut it to make it easier for me to do it. So first I'm going to work on with my bigger punch. Whoa, sorry about that. I'm going to work on my bigger punch. And I like to use my punch flip side up so I can see where I'm punching. There it is. And then you can do this as much as you want and as much as you need for your page. And then I'm going to use the smaller one, the punch anywhere, or anywhere punch, I think that's what it's called. So there's the bottom piece and then the top piece, and they connect with magnets. And then as you can see, there's also one side of it has that the corner is different than all the other corners, so you know that that is the one that would match together. So we want to make sure that that's just matched, and then we punch away. Okay, so as you can see, it's also easy to punch when you're using thin papers because you can all punch them all at the same time. So I have these three. Let me do it this way. So I have these three papers, and then I have these big ones. And then I'm just going to put adhesive on the centers of this and then overlap them. And of course, I'm not going to put the same color on top of each other. Well, I'm going to try not to, but I'm going to overlap the petals a little bit. And then do the same with the smaller ones. It's just using my fingers to make it easy. Actually, I want the smaller one to be different than the top one. Otherwise, if I would have put the stripe one on top, it would just look like it's just one dimensional flower instead of two or three, I guess you should say. And then I'll just scrunch that up until I make my flower, which is like this. This is what I'm talking about. So it would have looked one-dimensional if the stripes were in the same direction. It would just look like one, and you wouldn't see the smaller flower on there. So I've made my flower here, and I scrunched it up. Now I have to make the center. And to make the center, I use my 1/2 inch punch. Now, EK Success also, no, not EK, Epiphany Crafts also sells their punch for this particular size epoxy sticker, but I couldn't find mine. So I'm just going to use this 1/2 inch. And this one's actually a little bit bigger than the sticker itself, but that's okay. I can just trim it off. All you do is add that to the center and then trim it off, and then you could put that right on the center of your flower, and then you will have this kind of flower. Isn't that cute? So you can make this for any occasion. Of course, you can change the flower itself to match the color of your page, and then you can make as many as you want, as big or small as you want, depending on your flower punch. So that is the first way that we can use our flower punch that we're going to be doing with this page.
All right, so now we're going to be working on our actual page here, now that our flower accents are done. Like before, I am cutting out that text paper that is slightly smaller than my card base, and I decided to go with white for this one. I just love the subtleness of the white. And then I'm cutting out that diagonal stripe that is about 9 by 10 inch, and I'm going to put that on the far left side of my page. I am going to get my large corner rounder and then round the two corners of that paper. And then I have this pink paper that I am going to add a border to it. This is a Fiskars punch, and I just love adding borders to my yeah, my rectangle strips, because it just adds a little bit of accent on the top and the bottom. And then I didn't adhere that triangle yet because I wanted to have enough spacing to do my punches. And so I'm going to just trim that off of the big piece of paper and then punch out the border. That way I know that this piece matches perfectly with the size of this rectangle, that rectangle piece that I have. Then I'm going to center that off, and then there's my my border. Then I have two photos, two vertical photos here. These are photos of my mom and my son, and it was just so sweet because I caught them in the moment where my mom was talking to him about Jesus, and it was just the sweetest moment. So I'm so glad that I had my camera with me at the time, and then just snapped this. And then I had laid out all of my flowers there. As you can see, I laid out most of it on the right side of the page and then one on the left. Now, I had cut out a title from using my silhouette, and that is just a free font that I got from thefont.com. And the materials list for all of my layouts and all of my classes should be in the description underneath this. So if you have any questions as to the products that I use, it's always going to be there. And then I used a Heidi Swap stamp and stamped love this, because my title would be love this. And then I used my chameleon pens to kind of color in the title, or the stamped part of the title. So I colored in with green, and it looks really good, but then it was just kind of the stark white background was just not working for me when it comes to adding it to the black part, or over the black part of the cutout love. So I used some cracked pistachio and my little dauber there, and then I'm adding some color on the back side of that, and I love that so much better. And then I'm going to cut the two short edges of this into a pennant. And that's going to be my title right there. Now it stands out way better than it was with just the white background. Then I have my journaling here that I have already printed, and then I'm just going to cut that in strips and then adhere that on the bottom left of my page. And I really love how those flowers, using that tissue paper from Die Cuts with a View, added a little bit of a vintagey feel to this page. It made it, in my eyes anyways, it made the page and the story timeless for me. So I like that. And as you can see, I haven't adhered anything because I am that kind of person where I like to kind of move things around. And then I'm going to be stamping this wood block heart stamp using some cracked pistachio. And I'm not sure which colors I want, and so I'm actually going to be stamping it 3 times using 3 different colors. I'm using the Blue Lagoon, the cracked pistachio, and then the which one did I do? I think I used a pink one as well. I can't remember which one. Persimmon, maybe? But I won't end up using the pink one on this. I just pulled out the pink because I thought that it would bring out some of the other pinks from the centers of the flowers and also from the border, but I ended up not using that one. Okay, so the last way that I use my circle punch is actually, instead of, I mean, not circle, but flower punch, instead of using it as a flower, I like the flower stems, especially when they're close together, they look like just regular scallop punch. So that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to be punching out one of these hearts. I'm grabbing my 1-inch circle because I realized that the other punches just were too big for it. So I punched out the circle, the heart, I should say, with the circle punch, and then I had punched out the smaller heart, smaller flower, smaller flower as a scallop back background for those hearts, and that just turned out way better than my initial vision for the scallops and for the hearts. So this is going to do it for me. I am going to be adding one more flower to this because I felt like that one flower accent on the left was just kind of missing a friend. It needed another one on that side. And so the total of my flowers will be 2, 4, there will be 8 flowers on my page. And then I'm just going to be adhering all of that when I'm done. I was trying to see if I can move that one flower there, but it's not going to work out. There was just too many already as it is. I am going to be adding a sticker to this page to add my title, or not my title, but my date. So I felt like that love one was just blending really close to the background, and so I decided to make that a little bit, to make it stand out a little bit better onto my page. I am going to add that just on a piece of vellum, and so that it will kind of be distinguished a little bit better against that the pattern paper. And I really love how vellum adds that little bit of subtlety on each page, but it makes whatever you want it to go on top of it to stand out against the background. And here I am. I pulled out this Jubilee sticker from My Mind's Eye, and that's where I just had a couple left on that sticker sheet, and I'm going to be putting my date on there, and I'm going to put that, adhere that on the bottom of my journaling strips. And the close-ups will come soon after this. And if you have any questions, make sure that you leave that in the, there's a comment box on the bottom of every lesson, and I hope that I will see you in lesson 4.